So today we're going to be looking at close reading of visual images, and I've selected one from the Metropolitan Museum of Art's collection for us to examine today together, for us to closely read and analyze. So before we do, I'd like you to take a moment to look at the image and read it just the way you would traditional text. Start at the top, read it from left to right, top to bottom. Take a good look closely at the details. It's reproduced on your handout, but not as clearly as it is here. And here you can see the colors, so you can look at all of the monitors in the room. So today, in order to closely read the image, we're going to do a visual inventory. In other words, I want you to name what you see. And to facilitate this, I'd like you to use nouns. So just nouns, a person, place, or thing, and name what you see. We're going to start at the top and move across the way we would with text, and I'm going to ask you just to call out, just doing the visual inventory of naming what you see. So let's just start. Go ahead and call out. Sky. Good example.
Fields. Tree. People.
Here or here?
The first one.
Do we see any details here that we can name?
Is that a house? House. Is that water? Is that a river or something?
Here?
Like, yeah. I can't really tell.
I'll put water just in case. Can you tell what this is? Hay.
Is that harvested hay then?
It is. In fact, the name of the painting is called The Harvesters.
Teepees?
Sorry?
Teepees?
Here.
Haystack?
Is this where you were referring to the harvested hay? Okay. What else do we see? Let's do a few more nouns to create this visual inventory.
Workers?
Workers. Here or here?
Here, there.
So using a noun to describe, to be more specific about people. Another noun, but being more specific.
Harvesters?
Harvesters. Great.
There's a church in the background, it looks like.
Here?
No, to your left. There? That building with the top?
Yes. Right here through the trees. Maybe food. Over here?
Yeah.
Looks like they might be eating. So we'll use the noun food. Anything else we're missing? Any other nouns that we can use to create this visual inventory?
Shear. One of the workers is holding a shear.
So the tool,
Yeah, tool.
Like-
Next to people.
this right here, is it S-H-E-A-R? Oh, like this. Good. So academic language, specific.
Like a sickle.
A sickle. Can someone help me spell that?
Sickle.
Maybe, like pickle. Okay. So now that we have done a brief visual inventory and we've been able to use nouns to name what we see in the image, I'm going to ask you to work in your groups. And on the handout, you can see that each sense has its own section. So I'm going to ask this first table to do the taste. The table in the back, please work on hear. That table in the back, feel. And this closest table, smell. So let me give you a few tips to help you with this. First, I want you to imagine yourself in the setting. You're there with the harvesters. So think about what you would smell or feel. The feel group, that's the sense of touch, not emotion, feel. Sometimes the students get confused with that. They say, I feel tired. Okay? The second is I'm going to ask you to just use adjectives now to describe these sensory activities, these sensory engagements. And one way to help you do that is to think about the nouns. So if you look at the word sky, what we've done here is what we see. We've already done the visual inventory is what we see, that sense. So what does the sky, are there sounds in the sky? Is there a smell? Can I smell something? Or the hay? What does the hay taste like or smell like? So imagine yourself in the setting of the painting and create a list of adjectives, just adjectives. You can associate them with any of the nouns that we created here in our visual inventory and make a list of them on your handout sheet, and then we'll meet back and talk about what we found out. Go ahead and take 2 minutes to do that with your team. Okay, 30 seconds. All right, let's bring all of our ideas back to the group. So let's start with the first group, taste. What are some of the things that you might taste if you were in this setting, of the painting called The Harvesters?
Salty.
What's salty?
Harvesters.
The harvesters, so their sweat is salty. I'm going to make a note. We'll do the taste in pink. Okay? What else might you taste? What else would there be what could you taste?
Dry.
What's dry?
The hay, it could be even the sky.
So the people would have a dry taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
Okay? So in the hay could be dry, the setting could be dry, the fields even. So it makes the harvesters have a dry taste in their mouth. Okay? What about over here? Is there anything they taste over here?
The hay could taste musty, or the sense of must.
Musty.
The rich food.
Rich or tasty. And tasty is a good word, but I would even encourage students to go further. Well, what does it taste like? Is it savory? Is it spicy? Is it bland? So we want to keep digging deeper, because these are the words that eventually our students can use in their writing. So we're making that reading-writing connection. Okay? Anything else, tasters?
Metallic site.
Oh, yeah. So this would have a metallic taste. Tastes like metal, right? All right, let's go on to the group, the hear group. What do you hear? You're in the setting. We'll do that in blue. What do you hear? Oh, we used blue. Let me use another one. We used blue for sight, for the nouns. So let's try orange. Which one were we doing?
Here.
Thank you. What do you hear?
Snoring people.
Ah. Or it could be hear people, but I put it next to the guy who looks like he might be snoring. What else would we hear? Sawing. Oh, like sighing. They're exhausted. Where should I put that? Here? Or here? Or here? Sigh. That's something that you would hear if you were in this painting. Anything else you might hear? We might hear the bells of the church, right? And bells is a noun. So let's say ringing. We want to make sure. Now, ringing is a verb. Sometimes verbs can be used to describe as adjectives. Ringing, ringing church bells. Let's have, sorry? I didn't hear you. The rustling of the hay, great. So the wind is moving, it's rustling. Okay. Anything else for here, group? All right, let's move on to feel. What might you feel if you were in this painting of the harvesters? What are you going to feel? Sweaty. Sweaty. So like, what does being sweaty feel like? Moist, sticky. Where should I put that? Moist, sticky, sweaty. What else might we feel? The hay. So notice that we might also use words to describe more than one sense. So musty could be taste or smell. We didn't get to smell yet, but that's one of those words. Or dry could be the way it tastes, but also the way it feels. And sometimes we use describing words for multiple purposes, and then the sentence helps us be more specific about what that means. So yeah. What about the hay? If I ran my hand over that hay, the cut hay, it would feel dry. Is there anything else it might feel? Rough. Prickly. Okay.
It might even be soft since it's been cut.
That's right. So I'll put this hay over here, might be soft, correct?
And we said it would feel like warm in the sun.
Great. So warm, soft hay compared to the rough, dry, prickly hay. Different senses, different pictures in your mind. Need those different expressions for our writing purposes. All right, the smell group. What do you smell if you're there with the harvesters?
We said musty.
Mm-hmm. And we had musty here, but yeah, musty could be used for multiple purposes. Sweaty also could be used because sweat has a specific scent that we know, right?
And then also fresh, maybe the sky.
Excellent. So fresh would be another way to describe that. So it might, some people thought it might be dry smelling, but smelling fresh would be another way that you can interpret the visual. Great. All right, so the next step would be for us to use this reading activity, closely reading and annotating the image in order to write. So just when we annotate in close reading of traditional text, of print, and we use the annotations then for some purpose, we're going to use these annotations for a purpose, and that would be to create a piece of writing that reflects what we learned about or how we closely analyze this image of the harvesters. All right? So any questions on that? All right, don't forget to tweet out using the hashtag LearningGlass or the hashtag VisualSDSU your reflections on the lesson. We can't wait to hear. Thanks.